الصلاة والسلام عليك يا رسول الله وعلى آلك وصحابك يا حبيب الله. الصلاة والسلام عليك يا سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آلك وصحابك يا خاتم النبيين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu to all the Muslims, and I pray for guidance for those who are engulfed in wrong beliefs. Today we are going to talk about what is a religion. I am Jutt Chauhdary. First of all, we will see what a society is all about. Society is an organized group of persons associated together for religious, benevolent, cultural, scientific, political, patriotic or other purposes. Body of individuals living as members of a community. The body of human beings generally associated or viewed as members of a community, and a highly structured system of human organization for large scale community living that normally furnishes protection, continuity, security and national identity for its members. These are few definitions of a society. How society is formed, what society is all about. Secondly, sociologists often reserve the term institution, describing normative systems that operate in 5 basic areas of life, which may be designated as the primary institutions. In determining kingship, family is the institution. In providing for legitimate use of power, state is formed. In regulating the distribution of goods and services, economics institution is formed. In transmitting knowledge from one generation to another, education's institution is formed. In regulating our relations to the supernatural, religion is formed. The 5 primary institutions are formed among all human groups. They are not always as highly elaborated or as distinct from one another, but in rudimentary form, at last, they exist everywhere. These 5 institutions, family, state, economics, education and religion, are formed in each and every society. Whether that society is a small society or a very large scale society, these 5 basic primary institutions will always exist. These institutions collectively form the founding structure, the actual structure of a society and its function. Their universality indicates that they are deeply rooted in human nature and that they are essential in the development and maintenance of order. Here we are going to talk about religion. Religion is a primary institution of a society. So let's see what religion is. Religion, human beings' relationship to that which they regard as holy, sacred, absolute, spiritual, divine or worthy of special reverence. It is also commonly regarded as consisting of the way people deal with ultimate concern about their lives, their fates after death. In many traditions, this relation and these concerns are expressed in terms of one's relationship with or attitude towards God's spirits. In more humanistic or naturalistic form of religion, they are expressed in terms of one's relationship with or attitude towards the broader human community or the natural world. In many religions, texts are deemed to have spiritual status, and people are esteemed to be invested with spiritual or moral authority. Believers and worshippers participate in and are often enjoined to perform devotional or contemplative practices such as prayer, meditation or particular rituals. Worship, moral conduct, right belief and participation in religious institutions are among the constituent elements of the religious life. Here we will see some dimensions of a religion. Each and every religion that is a well-developed religion has these dimensions and tries to address these concerns. First of all, soteriological, having to do with salvation. Post-archaic religions are schemes of salvation, concerned with the source, nature, appropriate methods of removal of some evil believed to afflict humans. More religions are equally concerned with the achievement of blessedness, release or fulfillment that transcends evil in either this world or the next or possibly both. Salvation is one of the basic concerns of post-archaic religions. Here what we are trying to say is that a need to have an idea of salvation in human life is fundamental to our existence. Here, religion is trying to just address that concern a human being has about salvation. Second dimension is theological, the rationalization of religion. Theology deals with the nature of supreme being or whatever function in the religions as the source of supreme validity. Gods are objects of religious devotions and practice, and only secondarily are regarded as conceptions or hypothetical entities to be treated with speculative interest. To understand a particular religious outlook calls for knowledge and appreciation of the way its adherents relate beliefs and practices to supremely important beings. To deal properly with the theology, one must look at the manner in which adherents understands their relation to the objects of devotion and at the system of thought in which this relation is expressed. Theology is about the ideas of a supreme being and how we behave, how we relate ourselves to that supreme being is what theology is all about. The anthropological dimension of religion, the nature and possibilities of human beings. This aspect of religion is intertwined with the theological aspect, since in many religious systems, Christianity, Hinduism, Buddhism for example, images of human nature define the problem of evil, the ways adherents try to escape from evil. An example here is quoted. In Orthodox Christianity, sin is a characteristic of human nature. This belief set the stage for salvation by divine grace through God's forgiving sin. In Buddhism, suffering is deeply embedded in the human psyche, and this belief sets the stage for salvation through intellectual growth. So for each religion, the problem of evil, the conception of human nature, and the methods of salvation are interrelated. Epistemology or epistemological dimension. How do we know? Epistemology refers generally to the problem of knowledge. How knowledge is gained, how knowledge is produced, what knowledge is. In a religious context, this means how adherents believe themselves able to communicate with their deities and how the deities make known their will to human. The problem of knowledge is related to the nature of truth as conceived by adherents. Religious knowledge must be reconciled with profane knowledge. This gives rise to a religious doctrine of truth that settles such conflicts by granting religious knowledge a superior epistemological status over profane knowledge. Religious knowledge comes to adherents through various combinations of revelation, prayer, vision, sacred literature, and communication with other adherents. The next dimension here is the ethical dimension of religion, and one of the most important dimension that religion works in. Ethics are the relations between humans. Religion defines appropriate form of conduct between people, how to behave. Ethics are institutionalized as informal norms or formal codes and laws, and these codes and laws or norms are derived from religion. From the point of view of social scientists, the ethical function is religion's most important contribution to the society. The next dimension that we are going to discuss is the practical or the cultic practices, the symbolic behavior. Religion confers meaning on acts. Ritual is the means by which religion is publicly embodied. Ritual involves social organization of religious community. The functions of types of religious personals set apart for various religious duties. The modes of behavior by which adherents approach the sacred dimension. The devices used to guarantee proper group and individual conduct. Ritual acts are often themselves regarded as sacred, or at least as necessary steps to the goal of salvation. This leads to a consideration of the place of symbols in the religion, characteristic gestures, forms of speech and movement, the effect of religious beliefs on art and architecture. Moving forward, the next dimension that we are going to talk about is temporal, having to do with the meaning of time. Religious myths provide an imaginary time scale of important events, including the origin, repetition, and ending of religious significant eras. The end of time is an especially significant era for religion that possess a progressive history of religious meaning, such as Christianity. Other religions, such as Hinduism, see time as cyclical, a process of birth, growth, decay, and death, beginning again with birth ad infinitum. At the level of the individual, the meaning of time relates to the birth, growth, decaying, death, and possibilities of an afterlife for individuals. The last dimension that we are going to discuss is the cosmological dimension, or the cosmology, having to do with the meaning of the universe. Cosmology refers to the theories and visions of the creation, nature, meaning, and form of the universe and the place of humanity in it. Cosmos is a portrayal of the universe as meaningful structure. Science studies a meaningless universe. Religion portrays our existence as unfolding within a meaningful universe called cosmos. Cosmologies link human nature and the structure of society to an imaginary structure of the universe in order to endow human existence and society with meaning. Moving forward, now we will discuss about the elements of religion. What are those building blocks that form a religion, that give birth to a religion? Those are as following. Beliefs. Beliefs are the sensation of brain we have belief in one God, doomsday, angel, sacred books, good and bad luck, while Hindus believe in more than one God. Next element is religious organization. Religion is an organization of beliefs, rituals, and emotion. No religion without organization can survive. Every religion has its own structure and function, and every individual performing his role in that organization. For example, thousands of people gather at Eid al-Fitr, Eid al-Adha, and people perform the Hajj activities, which show an organizational structure of the religion Islam. The role of prophets, imam, peers, priests is within that structure. Kalma, Zakat, Roza, Hajj, and Namaz are organized and form a complete structure of religion Islam. The next element is emotions. Emotion of hope, fear, reverence, and humility are the product of religious rituals. The individual perform religious rituals and attached with emotion. These emotions have close contact with rituals, and an individual avoids sins and bows before Almighty Allah. Emotions are the feelings to show the reality of God. Fourth element of the religion is rituals and ceremonies. All religions have their own rituals and ceremony. These are the emotional and ceremonial practices. In Islam, prayer to God, fasting, recitation of the Holy Quran are the religious rituals. Next element is the sacred objects. It has its own sacred objects. For Hindus, idols, temples, cow, river of Ganga and Jamna are sacred. For Christians, the cross, church, and the Bible are sacred objects. While for Muslims, the Holy Quran, mosque, Baitullah are sacred objects. The next element is symbols. Symbols are the signs used for sacred objects or situations. Symbols give meaning to human behavior. For example, when Muslims hear azan, they show a typical behavior and keep quiet. The Baitullah and mosque are the symbols of God, while praying is the symbol of surrender before God. The next element that every religion has is sects. There are small groups within a religion called sects. Sects have their own religious followers. In Christianity, there are Catholic and Protestants. Among them, everyone claims to be true, but one of them is on the righteous path, which is that true religion. Moving forward, I would like to narrate some definitions by some of the social scientists. Joachim defines religion is three things: a belief system, a ritual worship system, and a moral system of social relationships. This is a substantive definition of religion. Modern people think first of belief, but the social scientists argue that ritual and social relations are the central aspects of religion. The Latin roots of the term religion are religere, to bind together, and religere, to execute painstakingly or to rehearse. Here, Emile Durkheim defined religion is a unified system of beliefs and practices relative to sacred things which unite into one single moral community called a church. All those who adhere to them, this is a functional definition focus on the moral unification function of religion. Sigmund Freud, on the other hand, defined religion as a collective neurosis. Karl Marx defined religion as the opiate of the masses. At the end of the presentation, I would like to discuss some categories of religious behaviors. Here, behaviors are addressing the sacred, music and poetry, physiological alteration through drugs, deprivation, self-mortification and isolation, exhortation, addressing others as representatives of divine being, recitation of the code, the use of sacred, written, oral statements to state of trial, sympathetical ritual, imitation of sacred beings and events, wielding sacred power, touching objects containing sacred power including laying on of hands, taboos, rules specifying avoidance, contact and action to prevent activating unwanted manifestations of sacred power. Feasts, sacred meals, sacrifices, ritual killing, often as a part of feast, congregation, meeting, processions, and other forms of coming together. Symbolism, using objects symbolizing the sacred, inspiration, the pursuit of vision and revelation, extension and modification of code, extended consequences, the results of applying religious values outside of the context of specifically ritual occasions. Now there are some persistent functions that a religion performs. Those functions are of both positive and negative. So the positive functions include closing the gap between hope and reality. For example, the final victory over death, evil, etc. is in heaven. Make virtue out of social necessity, encouraging and requiring the individual to sacrifice for others. Ego surrender, where the functioning of society conflicts with the functioning of the individual. Support and console individuals and groups. Enhance social stability through projecting sacredness upon social norms and through the creation of authoritative source of opinion regarding moral matters, the priestly function of religion. Promoting social change when religion is in conflict with the prevailing order of society through social criticism and prophecies, the prophetic function of religion. Provide a source of personal identity in pluralistic societies afflicted with anomie. Facilitate personal growth, maturation as they are conceptualized by the religion. Adjusting individuals to the life cycle of changing social status and rationalizing social, political, economic inequality, reducing conflict in stratified societies. There are some negative functions performed by religion as well. Excessive guilt and repression, causing individuals to suffer emotionally for failure to live up to the religious ideals. Authoritarianism, supporting oppressive authority in societies. Self-mortification, including people to endure physical suffering unnecessarily or to cause themselves to suffer deliberately for religious reasons. Ethnocentrism, causing people to have narrow, culturally centered perceptions of other groups, arming them with absolute conviction that can justify repression and violence towards them. Ethnocentrism also plays a positive function as well, that it brings people together, unifies a society, and also closes the gaps between generations and people. Next, promotes intergroup conflicts by causing individuals to feel urgent about exporting their religion and to feel offended by the religions of other people. Rationalizes social, political and economic inequality, preventing social change necessary to reduce social conflicts. At the end of the presentation, I would like to discuss a few points that I had in mind to the public. Here, religion in the contemporary societies is sidelined, even though it has some moral functions that it performed, as well as some shaping of behaviors that a religion performs. Due to this sidelining of religion, societies that are more developed and has less focus toward religion are facing anomie and individuality more than the collective consciousness. The lack of collective behaviors also causing different kind of crimes and immoral activities in the societies. Here, another point that I want to raise is that religious scholars are also as much important as other scientists, because religion is not only about some beliefs and their practices, but religion impacts our social life as well. How to behave with others, how to accept others, how to be a collective group is what religion teaches us. So, we should give importance to a religion. This presentation has presented a different view of religion from our general conception that religion is not as simple as we thought it is. It is not just about some beliefs and some practices, but it tries to address those issues that we face in our daily lives, such as how to behave with others, how to participate in the development of the society, what norms should be followed, how the laws are made, how to protect others, that a collective goal is more important than an individual goal. And this mentality, this conception, this idea is what leads to a productive change in any society. Thank you. At the end, I would like to pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He blesses us with knowledge, understanding of religion, and also guides us towards the right path. Ameen Ya Rabbul Alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.